Intellect devourers, a mind flayer's best friend. Except they're not, they're more like slaves, I guess. Hello, and welcome to Monster Examination. On this first episode, I'll be examining the Intellect Devourer. So, why am I going to base this first episode off of the Intellect Devourer? Well, the first reason why I've picked the Intellect Devourer for my first episode is because it's a really interesting monster, and I've never seen it used in any of the campaigns I've been in. But it just looked too interesting to pass up, and this gave me an opportunity to see what it was about. Check out what it did. Turns out it's a fucking horrifying monstrosity. So, I mean, it's an illithid. And illithids are just really interesting because they're so alien. And there's any chance to learn more about them is something I'm not going to pass up. Okay, so first, let's start at the beginning. How does an Intellect Devourer come into existence? Well, it's a unique process, somewhat like how mind flayers are made. It uses the same ritual, except when a mind flayer is made, they take a tadpole, a mind flayer tadpole, and perform the ritual, implant it into a sentient host. So the ritual, okay, so it's a unique process, somewhat like how mind flayers are made. They use the mind flayer tadpoles that were hatched in the brine pool of the elder brain, which is the hive mind of the mind flayers. So these tadpoles are used in a ritual where a host is implanted with one, and the tadpole eats the brain and attaches itself to the host's brain stalk, and that's how it controls the host. Now, but the ritual to make an Intellect Devourer has no host. It just has an extracted brain. And they put the tadpole onto the brain, it gets inside of it, and then magically, I don't know how this happens, it decides it's not gonna be just a brain, it's gonna be a brain with legs. It grows out some Lion King paws and just starts strutting around. But yeah, so it grows its legs, and then it just obeys the mind flayer who made it, or its creator. But it's gonna be a mind flayer because nobody's gonna figure out how to do this ritual. Alright, so I hear you guys saying, hey, I don't give a fuck about the fucking lore. Give me the stats, you shit. First of all, it's pretty rude. Alright, dude, calm your shit. Second of all, I'm getting to it. Alright, so this is how we're gonna break down the stats. We're gonna see what size they are, and we're gonna see what species they are, like what classification. In this case, it's an aberration. So that means it gets 60 feet of dark vision, and since it's a mind flayer subspecies, it gets to detect sentient creatures with an intelligence score above 3. Okay, so its stats are strength at 6, dex at 14, which when I first saw that, I was actually kind of surprised. Constitution is at 13, intelligence is at 12, which surprised me again because I thought they'd be more intelligent until I looked at their skills, and I think we should be grateful that the gods have showing us mercy with that int score. Its wisdom's at 11, whatever, and it's got the base 10 charisma. Which, I mean, it can't even talk. Unless, you know, the worst possible outcome happens, you know, man. So, I mean, from looking at the stats, you can tell that they're supposed to be ambush predators that attack single targets, unless the DM wants to get, like, super sinister and just have them join up with other monsters, which are probably enthralled by mind flayers or by other intelligent devourers. So they attack with their claws and a psychic ability which granted them their name, you know, devour intelligence. So the claw attack is only used if the devourer has an extra chromosome or something. That attack is so stupid. It's just there in case, like, a rat walks up to it with its, like, 2 intelligence and it can't fight it with its psychic blasts. Okay, so devour intelligence. What's it do? Well, if you're within 10 feet of it, it forces you to roll a DC 12 intelligence save. If you pass the save, it's whatever. Nothing happens. You were saved. If you don't pass it, though, it gets gross. It gets disgusting. Like what? Like, who thought of this? So if you fail to save, you take 2d10 psychic damage. And then it rolls 3d6. And if that roll is higher than your intelligence, it's game over. That's it. It's a wrap. The book's closed. I mean, there's nothing you can do, because so it drains your intelligence to 0 and stuns you, which is basically, this is just the devourer lubing it up before he jumps into your skull, because its final move, its signature attack, its final flash, Big Bang Kamehameha, is body steal. So if you're incapacitated, which means you've either fallen to 0 HP, you're stunned, paralyzed, unconscious. Let's see. I also think I'm not sure, but if you're grappled, you're incapacitated too. That's why it's so sinister if they send, like, a grappling monster onto you and an int devourer. So it initiates an intelligence clash, and if it wins, it eats your brain magically, teleports into your skull, and takes over your body. Like, what the fuck, dude? Who thought of this shit? So the brain devourer basically does what Crypto from Destroy All Humans does, and invades your body by outbraining you. So what happens once the intelligence devourer enters the victim's body? Well, the devourer gains all memories and knowledge from the victim. That includes the languages, so now it can actually talk. It also gains all physical attributes. That means strength, dex, and constitution. The int wisdom and charisma is transferred over. So it would just keep, like, let's say it miraculously took over a wizard's body and the wizard has a higher int, it would drop down, like, so the wizard has an int of 14. Well, the intelligence of the brain is only 12. So, it would drop down to 12. But it would still know all the spells of the wizard it took over. So it doesn't happen too often because the wizard would have to be incapacitated and lose the clash. So the only real way that's going to happen is if through some sort of miracle the wizard not only loses to intelligence devourer, it also loses to the second roll, and the devourer rolls higher than the wizard's intelligence, which should never happen unless it's a low to medium level wizard, I suppose. So really most of the time it's just gonna try to get something with a low intelligence score, like a beast or maybe a barbarian who doesn't give a fuck about his intelligence, you know. Alright, so your friend has just lost his brain to intelligence devourer. What are you supposed to do? I say you just attack him. You just keep attacking him. You gotta get the brain out of there, right? So you attack him. You pull the brain out. You smash the brain. And your friend's still dead. Because his brain was eaten. You're gonna have... So the only way to bring it back is if you have something like a greater restore. So that it can restore the brain. But you would most likely either have to resurrect, like a true resurrect where it replaces your lost body parts, or you're gonna have to wish him a new brain. So what if I just beat him up? What if I just beat up my possessed friend, drop him to 0 HP? What happens? Well, what happens is your friend's body collapses down on the ground like always. The brain teleports out of the body straight to Lumbridge. No, I'm just kidding. It's only 5 feet away. The brain teleports 5 feet away, and that's it. It's just out. It's just the brain. It's out there. You fucking hit it with a hammer or something, blow it up. Dead, whatever. But your friend's dead too, because he got his brain eaten. In conclusion, while the brain stats might be absolute trash, if you're low intelligence and by yourself out in the woods and this thing targets you, you're fucked. But that only happens if you're in a Mind Flayer campaign. Or in a Mind Flayer den. Because these things are naturally only located in the Underdark. And, I mean, the only way they're gonna come through is if a Mind Flayer comes in and brings it along. That's basically the only way it's gonna happen. So, thankfully, stay on your planes. Be good little terrestrials. Leave the fighting to the big boys, you know? Because this is some shit you don't want to mess with. You don't want this brain jumping into your head and killing you, alright? You don't want to deal with anything related to Mind Flayers, okay? That's a no. You see a Mind Flayer, you nope the fuck out of existence. Okay? Don't do it. It's never worth it. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Or don't. It's whatever. You know, like, Cthulhu probably looks at these things and is like, ew, what the fuck is that? Gross. Ugh. What happens if a zombie eats one of those? Like, so it's like brains, and it eats the zombie. It eats somebody who's been possessed by a by an intelligence devourer. Like, what happens? Does the intelligence devourer die, or does it just possess the zombie? If you were pinned down, right? Since I'm pretty sure they count getting grappled to the ground and pinned as like incapacitated. All you need is like one devourer in somebody's, in like a barbarian's head, and then the wizard's fucked because he can't get out.